We all want to live freely, unfiltered, unapologetic, and true to ourselves. Yet so many of us remain trapped in the fear of judgment, constantly editing our words, suppressing our quirks, and dimming our light to fit into the expectations of others. If breaking free from this mental prison were easy, you'd have done it already. You wouldn't second-guess your jokes, censor your thoughts, or feel like you're walking on eggshells in your own life. But here's the truth. The chains holding you back aren't random, and they're not a sign of weakness. They're the result of something much deeper, a survival mechanism ingrained in you over years of conditioning. The slow death of authenticity. Think back to childhood. You didn't overanalyze your every move. You wore mismatched socks, sang loudly in public, asked bold questions without fear of sounding foolish. You existed in a state of pure, unfiltered expression, your soul untamed and alive. But as you grew older, the world began chipping away at that freedom. A critical comment here, a disapproving glance there. Maybe you were scolded for being too loud, too weird, or too much. Each time you shrank yourself to avoid judgment, a small part of your true self was buried. No fanfare, no goodbye, just silent self-betrayal. This wasn't weakness. It was intelligence. Your brain learned that authenticity could lead to pain, so it adapted. You developed armor, not to thrive, but to survive. Over time, this armor grew heavier. Dreams were abandoned, passions muted, and your voice softened to a whisper. Now, you carry the weight of imagined judgments like an invisible burden, living for approval rather than for yourself. The truth about judgment. Here's what no one tells you. Judgment says more about the person judging than it does about you. People don't judge you based on who you are. They judge you based on their own insecurities. A person who mocks your ambition is likely someone who gave up on their own dreams. Someone who calls you cringe is often afraid to step outside societal norms themselves. Judgment is a mirror reflecting the judge's inner struggles, not your worth. Consider this. If someone is deeply insecure about their appearance, they'll fixate on others' looks. If they're unhappy in their career, they'll criticize your choices. Their harsh words aren't bullets aimed at you. They're boomerangs of their own self-doubt. Every "who do you think you are" really means "I've forgotten who I am." Every tense unrealistic translates to "son, I gave up too soon." When you realize this, their opinions lose power. Breaking free from the fear of judgment freedom begins when you stop seeing judgment as a threat and start seeing it for what it is, background noise. Here's how to reclaim your authenticity. 1. Identify your fears. Write down what scares you most about being judged. Is it your voice, your interests, your dreams? Be brutally honest. These fears are your cages. Acknowledging them is the first step to breaking free. 2. Trace the shame back to its source. Ask yourself, who made me feel ashamed of this? Was it a critical parent, a bullying classmate, a society that rewards conformity? The shame you carry isn't yours, it was handed to you. Recognizing this helps you discard it. 3. Expose the absurdity of judgment. Next time you hesitate, ask, will this matter on my deathbed? Would a lion care about the opinions of sheep? Most judgments are trivial in the grand scheme of your life. 4. Act despite the fear. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's action in spite of it. Post that thought, wear that outfit, speak your truth. The magic happens in after. The initial discomfort when you realize the world didn't end. The prison you don't see, the most dangerous cage, is the one you don't realize you're in. You weren't born fearing judgment, you were taught it. But you can unlearn it. Your quirks, your passions, your unfiltered self, these aren't flaws. They're your superpowers. The right people will celebrate them. The wrong ones, their opinions were never yours to carry. So stop living for an audience that isn't paying attention. The world doesn't need another watered-down version of you. It needs the real, messy, brilliant, unapologetic original. And that starts the moment you decide their judgment is no longer your compass.